it a little bit to a political expert in South Carolina politics, Andy Brack. Andy is the editor, publisher, and editorialist for the Charleston City paper, and also the weekly Statehouse report. So he is deep inside everything that's going on politically at the State House level, and also locally across the state as well. He is also a political pundit and commentator. He was named the best political editorialist, columnist by the South Carolina Press Association in 2023. And he knows politics also from the side of candidates because he ran for Congress in the year 2000. The other thing that is very interesting about Andy is that he was a staffer and the press person for Senator Fritz Hollings, who was a standout senator in the history of South Carolina, and South Carolina has many. So to stand out, I want to pick his brain about that, but not on today's call. Anyway, so Andy, thank you very much. And if you want to kind of take a run at where you think South Carolina politics are, where you think the electorate is, and sort of give us your thoughts, and then we'll continue the conversation here. Thank you, Andy.
Sure. Thank you all for having me today. And I'm glad that you're having a convention because I think we need third parties to be active. Can you hear me okay?
It's a little low. Can you talk?
All right. Let's see if I can do something about that. I don't think I'll just have to speak louder.
There you are. That's good. That's good.
Right. So thanks, Clint, for reminding everybody that I lost the congressional race in 2000. It was a tough loss, but I have to tell you, after I lost, I'm kind of glad that I stayed out of Washington, especially how it's turned out these days. But I learned an enormous amount losing a race for Congress. And so I think some of those lessons have materialized in the newspaper columns that I've written since 2002. And so what I'd like to do, as you suggest, is share a couple of thoughts. Number one, it is the perfect time for third parties because people are frustrated, as the Lieutenant Governor suggested. People don't trust either party. People don't really trust the media either, but there is a thirst for knowledge about what am I supposed to do? Why is America changing like it's changing? What can we do about it? And I'll tell you, and I'm going to try not to curse today, because I have a sign on my door that says we don't keep our opinions to ourselves. And so that's kind of how I guide things. But sometimes my opinions, I ended up sharing words that I probably shouldn't share. But right now, what's happening in South Carolina, and I'm not really going to talk about the nation, but what's happening in South Carolina is garbage level quality of government. It is abysmal. It's embarrassing. And nothing is getting done to help regular people. And I want to give you a couple of examples of that about what's going on today in the legislature. If you read the column that I've got out today, and you can go to charlestoncitypaper.com and see that, they're talking about abortion again. The Republicans have been running things for 20 years, and every single year up yet again. And so I kind of went a little bit hyperbolic, and I basically said, if you've got these 6 white men that are trying to make choices for women's bodies and their reproductive health, let's start taking away their Viagra. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous about what's going on. Another example of how I think South Carolina legislature is failing is that they spent yet another year on trying to figure out a way to reduce people's income tax rates. Well, the problem, that's not the problem for half of South Carolina. The bottom half of South Carolina doesn't pay much income tax. It's the rich guys that are paying it, and that's who they're trying to help. Where we need help is sales tax. We have one of the highest rates in the nation, but they're not talking about sales tax. let's go to the Republicans have problems. They've got a supermajority. They control everything. The Democrats are kind of like hapless cartoon characters because they can't get anything done. They've got, thank goodness, for the first time, 124 candidates for the House this year. So that's the first time in recent memory. But they can't get a hate crimes bill passed. I mean, a Democratic state senator died almost 11 years ago in a racist shooting in Charleston, and the Democrats have not been able to form a coalition with some Republicans to get a hate crimes bill passed, which to me is frankly ridiculous. And the key word there is coalition. And that's the word for the Forward Party. You need to have some people elected so that you can form coalitions and get real things done for regular people. So I think that's what the exciting opportunity is the opportunity to build coalitions. I do think that one of the things that concerns me about how y'all are going about it is that you set values for people, but you don't have like a real platform. And that concerns me because I think that it's going to have a communications problem with people who are voters when they don't know exactly what the party stands for. Sure, the candidates can communicate what they want to share with voters, but I tend to think that there need to be 5 or 6 general themes, policies, and look at it from a candidate standpoint. One of the things that I learned early on is I needed talking points to talk about complex issues. And giving me a set of values doesn't do that. But telling me, for example, you need to be pushing policies that reshape or eliminate sales tax exemptions, well, how do I talk about that? And so if you all, for example, got behind a statewide party policy saying, let's fix sales tax exemptions, you would let a candidate know that right now, South Carolina is losing about $4 to $5 billion in revenue every year because they give sales tax exemptions to special interests. On the Senate floor yesterday, or 2 days ago, it came out that 7 data centers, you know, these things that are in the news now, 7 data centers are getting $828 million in sales tax exemptions. These are rich companies getting $800 million in sales tax exemptions. That money should go to schools. That money should go to reduce poverty. That money should go to improve access to health care. But we're giving tax breaks to these people. I think that's ridiculous. And it's also ridiculous the Senate didn't know about it. So, you know, having something that is a minor list of call them Palmetto priorities for your candidates with a little bit of, that's what I call it in Statehouse report, having a little bit of talking points for candidates, I think that will be helpful. Let me give you a couple of other examples. You could talk about one of your policies that you may want on the platform was what might be invest, you know, let's fix our roads and bridges, and here's how we're going to do it. I think let me interject, one of the things about having these policy suggestions is that you have to make them measurable so people understand them. Don't just say we need more jobs to reduce poverty. What we need to do is we say the state needs to appoint a cabinet level position for small business and help encourage 10,000 new jobs a month with investments. Or instead of saying we need to improve education, which is who the hell's against that? I mean, instead of saying we need to improve education, wouldn't it be smarter to say we need to reduce the dropout rate 25% in 5 years? Because that's a measurable, actionable thing. And there are going to be proposals and bills that would have to be introduced to do that. Another example might be looking at affordability. I have to tell you, I spent about an hour and a half with Mark Sanford this week, and it was one of the most fascinating interviews I've had in a long time. He did just what the lieutenant governor did. They talked about affordability. If you look, and some of y'all may not know, but Sanford, the former governor, is running for Congress for the third time. He's the only one out of 10 candidates who's talking about affordability. He's the only one who is not some weirdo shade of red, MAGA red. He is deep blue, deep dark blue, fiscal conservative. He was surprised when he said something like, do you know that the national debt's going to be $39 trillion? And I said, yeah, and it's going up another $1 trillion in 4 months. And he was shocked that somebody knew that, because I don't think Americans talk about that much. But what Sanford's doing is talking about affordability, making sure people have better jobs, making sure pay is better, and which is shocking to me as a Republican. I don't know if he's going to win, but that's the most interesting race in South Carolina now, since he surprisingly jumped in. The hardest race in South Carolina right now, to me, is the race for governor, because I think you got crappy candidates on all sides. You know, on the Republican side, there's 7 candidates who, again, they're just different colors of MAGA red. Nobody really stands out in my mind. There are a couple of idiots in it. I mean, I would strongly hope that nobody votes for Nancy Mace or Ralph Norman. But, you know, on the Democratic side, it's not much better. You've got some, you know, you've got a guy who's wandering around on the Battery in his underwear drunk. You've got a couple of other people that are running, and you got a rich guy who made a whole bunch of money on payday loans, which means he was making money on people who didn't have it. I mean, the comedy of state government is kind of amazing. But I will close right now and encourage you, when you go out and talk about the forward party, talk about specifics, make them measurable, continually telling people that independent redistricting is necessary and vital for our country. Continue telling people that ranked choice voting is necessary and it works all over the world. We need to have it work more here in South Carolina. It's starting to work in places in America too, but those are the kind of forward-thinking policies and practices that third parties can bring to the discussion, as long as you remain vigorous, as long as you remain intense, and as long as you communicate. So, you know, my hat's off to all of y'all, particularly the candidates who will follow, because I really think that it's going to be frustrating, because you got to explain who you are, but you just got to keep at it, because we are at the cusp of, I don't want to say a brave new world in our democracy, but I kind of think we are. So anyway, thank you all very much for having me today. I'm sorry we had a little technical problem there, but if anybody wants to talk, it's pretty easy to find me. It's editor@charlestoncitypaper.com. I don't shy away from emails and telephone calls.